to hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be blessed.
Reject that press conference back.
All right.
Just for comments. This creator. Yes. So we have to shut down.
Very distinguished directors general, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this joint World Press Conference on GM technology in agriculture. We're so delighted to have you here, and we thank you so much for honoring our invitation. This very important press conference seeks to address ongoing debate, ongoing conversations surrounding the safety of GMOs. And that's why we're here today, to give accurate information that will help inform decisions, well-informed decisions, and would allay public fear and enhance public confidence in the technology. Once again, I want to welcome you, and I want to please ask that you welcome one or two people sitting around you, if you haven't done that yet. Today we are very honored to have at this press conference eminent scholars, great scientists, doing great and mighty things in their different respective offices, contributing to national development. They will be here today to give accurate information on this technology, such that we'll be able to address ongoing misconceptions and myths surrounding the technology.
Okay.
Permit me to acknowledge, just like we have on the program, the Executive Secretary of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, ALCN, Professor Garba Sharubutu. A round of applause for him, please. I'll also want to acknowledge the presence of the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa. A round of applause for him, please. Also seated here today, we have the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Agnes Yamisi Asakra. Round of applause for her. Joining us for the press conference, we also have the Acting Director General and Chief Executive Officer, National Agricultural Seed Council, Dr. Khalid Ishaq. A round of applause for him. It's also a privilege to have with us today the President of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Architect Kabiru Ibrahim. A round of applause for him. Without much ado, okay, I think it's very important at this time to also know our gentlemen of the press. I think we should do some quick introductions. We want to know your name. All right. Okay, without much ado, let's welcome the Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, for his briefing. Professor Garba Sharubutu, the floor is yours, sir. Please come forward. Okay, you want him to be there?
Yes. Yeah, he's better. Yeah.
Yes, you want to black me out. The president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, directors general here present, farmers here present, gentlemen of the press, I bring you greetings from the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. Let me, for a start, commend these organizations seated here for coming together for the first time to appreciate members of the press, as well as address Nigerians and the world on a subject matter that is of utmost importance to the agricultural system in Nigeria, including, of course, the farmers. I come from the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, a body under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, mandated to advise the government on the subject matter of agri-research, agri-training, and agricultural extension services. The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria superintends over 16 agricultural research institutes, each with a specific mandate given to it. And the mandate is very, very clear. The mandate is for those agricultural research institutes to research into genetic improvement of our traditional crops, as well as value addition for all of them in terms of storage, in terms of the facilities to be provided to cultivate them. Now, the subject matter of genetic improvement is at the front burner. And why do we want to do this? In the wisdom of those of us who are researchers. Our researches for genetic improvement are focused mainly on 4 subject areas. 1, drought resistance. 2, flood resistance. 3, fighting disease. And then improving productivity. We all know the subject matter that has led to the low productivity of our crops in this country, including livestock and fish. The major factor to be addressed is that of input. And even among the inputs, the major factor to be addressed is the seed. Seeds are actually researched into by the various agricultural research institutes. They are promoted and verified by various agencies of government as they are being put in place. Just at the beginning of the year, the agricultural research system, including, of course, the research institutes under the ARC, the National Biotechnology Development Association, the National Biosafety Management Agency, and the Seed Council were collaboratively able to come up with about 23 varieties, 4 of which were the tailor maize. Why the tailor maize is important to us is because of the devastating losses that we actually and farmers incur in the process of production. While other countries are battling with post-production losses, or what you call post-harvest losses, Nigerians farmers are dealing with both production and production losses. And one commodity that is of utmost importance to us in Nigeria is the maize. Why? Because animals and human beings put together a lot of pressure on the maize, and the productivity of our maize has been very, very low. And in order to address this issue, we decided to look into the subject matter of how to control the diseases, because that is the #1 problem. And of utmost importance to us is the disease called the fall armyworm. which devastates our production. Worst of all, these fall armyworm will always strike at the time you have already spent a hell lot of money. If it were at the point of germination, we would have saved money. But this happens at the point the maize is beginning to tassel and the cobs are beginning to form. By implication, you have spent money in tilling the soil or the land. You have made all preparation. You have also spent money in spreading herbicides. You have spent money in seeding. You have spent money in weeding or herbicides application. So half of the money you are supposed to expend on the production of your farm must have been spent at the time the tailor maize come into being. Now, going from the experience of other nations, and of course Nigeria, I would like us to reflect that there are some plants behind our houses that dispel mosquito. And these plants are all over the place. These plants do not kill mosquito. They repel mosquito. So the same technology we are beginning to apply, say let us look for those ingredients from among some of the living things that will also dispel the fall armyworm. What I am saying here is that the fall armyworm does not need to come close to that maize plant before it is repelled. Contrary to the idea or the speculation that the insect or the fall armyworm will have to enter the maize before it's being killed. No, it's a repulsion of those insects and worms that is supposed to destroy our plant. Now, why the worry? There are so many insinuations as far as the issue of the tailor maize is concerned. We have summarized these insinuations at the level of the Agricultural Research Council into one, of the GMO technology. Two, the issue of planting and replanting of GMO products or tailor maize. Three, the issue of the health implication. Now, these are critical areas of concern to us. Now, let us talk about the GMO technology. The GMO technology, yes, not a simple one, but it's a process that can be explained better by the DG. But simply put, is trying to look for a repulsive gene and introduce into our traditional crops for us to be able to do that. Is that the first time we're doing? No. We did that with cowpea. We did that with cotton in Nigeria. But the world over, we're able to modify a good number of crops, such as our cattle. Cattle are developed from that. We have succeeded even at the level of the National Animal Production Research Institute to actually see what we can do or what we did to modify our poultry and came up with Chica Brown. The world over have been able to do that with wheat. And of course, we know very well that we import some of these food substances without posing questions to us. Here we are talking about importation without reasonably knowing the various sources. But this technology that has come is actually developed by us, promoted by us, and released by us. The scientists at the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University took the front burner in order to research into this. For the avoidance of doubt, they are Nigerians, born, bred, sponsored, and trained by the money of Nigerians. And as such, I do not see anywhere they can make a deliberate attempt to kill this country. Secondly, the mere fact that we have a control of our technology means we should be able to take control of whatever is there. Thirdly, the Nigerian government, in its wisdom, has decided that technology cannot just come from my laboratory, and that is the research institute, direct into the hands of the farmers. In its wisdom, the country has put in place so many checkpoints where at any point before it reaches the release point, that can be reversed. We were able to research into that. released that to the National Biotechnology Development Agency. They did their own research, did their own verification. We moved to the level of the National Biosafety. They were able to look at the laws and did their own verification using a standard that is developed globally. And also, we were able to hold a meeting of NAGRA, and that is the Variety Release Committee. This is not a one-day phenomenon. Our research took almost 5 years. Then it moved into NAGRA that would give them over 3 years. MBMA will take maybe 1 year. And then it gets to the Variety Release Committee that will use about 3 to 4 years in order to research into this. These are all agencies run by trusted Nigerians. Nigerians that have equal concern for safety. Nigerians that believe that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu food security program is well protected. Having done that, this was released to the farmers. And these products are released under control based on the recommendations of the National Biosafety Management Agency. Control because the early generation seed is supposed to be maintained by us, released by us to competent farmers before they are being multiplied by selected individuals and then and replanting. By our own knowledge, all seeds, if they are overused, their productivity will continue to diminish, will continue to come down. Self-pollinated crops do not have that type of risk that people are talking about. The issue of enslavement of Nigerians having to go and import their seed. The Director General of the National Agricultural Seed Council will be able to tell you that we have not less than 2,000 seed entrepreneurs in this country. And because we have been able to control our seed production system in this country, we do not need to go outside this country to import seed. We have, through our regulatory mechanism, been able to provide jobs for most of our teeming population in the area of seed production as seed entrepreneurs. DG Seed will be able to talk in that respect, and I'm definitely sure that we have competent farmers that are certified by the All Farmers Association of Nigeria and recommended to the National Agricultural Seed Council to move into the seed business of this country. So it is not everybody that produces seed that engage in West and Central Africa activities under CORAF and the World Bank. We were licensed as Nigerians to begin to take our seeds outside the shores of this country. We supplied seed to Burkina Faso. We supplied seed to Mali. And under a situation where these countries have done their investigation and have trusted us, I see no reason why we should begin to doubt ourselves because we have come up with a product. Now, the insinuation that the world over GMO has been banned, I think people need to look and ask questions seriously. What are the circumstances under which they are banned? Today, America imports GMO. China does that. The European countries do that. All you need to do is just to pick up your phone, Google, and you see what type of products that are available internationally. Yes, there are a lot of restrictions on some. It's basic. Once you do not go through the various mechanisms set in place by government, to try and verify most of the products that are coming from the laboratory, definitely you are expected to have some ban. Let me also go to the health implication. Again, I want to reiterate the fact that we are conscious of the One Health phenomenon. And with One Health, we're not just talking about the safety of human beings, because the human being is the target. But the mechanism by which diseases can alter the physiological or anatomical function of any human being has to follow through some intermediaries. We have intermediary hosts, we have agents of destruction. And that is the more reason why For the first time, I can tell you in the history of this country, and very reliably, that these organizations sitting on this table are working together almost on a daily basis, meeting, scrutinizing things, and trying to see what are the likely hazards that will befall human beings, not only human beings, but the environment in itself, as well as animals. So our products, by the time we release our products, it has gone through the various safety measures to make sure that at least the environment is not polluted, plants are not polluted, and then human beings eventually are not actually going to be victims of whatever our discovery is. While promising Nigerians that we will take their concern very, very seriously, we are still in the lab trying to make sure that we verify whatever claims are coming. For now, there is no cause for alarm. And I can tell you quite frankly that we have done our investigation. We are very homely with the products that we have given out. And of course, we are already beginning to have some requests from international organizations. Today, I can tell you, AGRA is with us, HORAF is with us, USID is with us. We have received visitors from the Cameroon to try and look at the methodology by which we follow to achieve what we have been. Sincerely for listening to me and to take the trust that I am a Nigerian, fully committed to the safety of this country. And as an employee of the federal government, I can assure you that I and my colleagues will definitely not do anything that will jeopardize the food security program of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Garba, Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. Thank you for the insightful information shared to address these concerns on biosafety or the safety of GMOs. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for him, please. At this time, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome for his briefing the Director General, Chief Executive Officer, National Biotechnology Research and Development.
Acting Director General, National City Council, and President of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of us. Today I'm very much delighted to welcome you the debate regarding the safety of GMO plants on human and environmental health in Nigeria has been reignited by the introduction of cannabis, sparking controversy, misinformation, misunderstanding. This has resulted in widespread fear and skepticism among the public. Our aim with this event is to alleviate public concern, dispel misinformation, and educate the nation on the proven safety and advantages of genetically modified organisms. Esteemed gentlemen of the press, genetically modified organisms represent a crucial advancement in the field of biotechnology, offering a myriad of benefits that span across agriculture, food security, health, industry, and of course, the environment. These genetically modified organisms have the potential to revolutionize our approach to addressing pressing global challenges, such as food scarcity, malnutrition, and also environmental sustainability. By harnessing the power of genetic engineering, Nigerian scientists and researchers have developed crops that are more resilient to pests, diseases, and adverse climate conditions, thus ensuring a more secure food supply for present and future generations. Some of these crops include BT cowpea, BT cotton, and the newly released telomeres. Distinguished media practitioners. In Nigeria, the telomeres that recently sparked intense controversy and concerns, with many questioning its safety and environmental impact, is a transgenic, drought-tolerant, and insect-protected maize variety designed to thrive in challenging climatic conditions. Its commercial release is expected to enhance food security in sub-Saharan Africa by increasing crop yield, enhancing resilience to pests and diseases, and reducing the environmental impact. Also, improving nutritional content for the health benefit of the populace. Having gone through this rigorous testing and evaluation processes to ensure its safety for consumption and the environment, telomeres is safe and not harmful to humans and environment. The World Health Organization and Food and Agricultural Organization have stated that GMOs are safe for human and animal consumption. Similarly, the Nigerian government has taken a positive stance on GMO and their safety. The technology behind GMOs, known as modern biotechnology, or in other words, genetic engineering, allows for the transfer of selected individual genes from one organism to another. This process has been thoroughly studied and tested. There is no evidence or data to indicate GMOs are harmful to human health, and therefore Nigerians have nothing to worry about. By adopting and adapting genetically modified crops, Nigeria can increase food security, improve crop yield, and reduce the use of harmful pesticides. It is time to move past the fear of skepticism surrounding GMOs and embrace this cutting-edge technology for the benefit of all Nigerians. The National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency is playing a key role in addressing the challenges of hunger, malnutrition, and poverty in Nigeria, and also contributing to a more resilient and sustainable agricultural sector that benefits both farmers and consumers. Through research, advocacy, and capacity building initiatives, the agency is working to ensure that Nigerian farmers have access to the latest advancement in biotechnology. Members of the Fourth Estate, in recognition of the significant role you play in educating and shaping the public opinion, I implore you to partner with us in disseminating accurate, unbiased, and objective information about genetically modified organisms to the public. By working together, we can counteract the spread of misinformation, empower individuals with knowledge they need to make informed decisions, enhance public acceptance and understanding, as well as build trust and confidence in cutting-edge technology. I'm optimistic that the crop of journalists at this press conference has the requisite intellectual competence and professional skill to counter the fake news, disinformation, and misinformation or anti-scientific Luddites, whose activities constitute a love on the will of progress. In conclusion, I call on each of you to be ambassadors of truth and enlightenment in this journey towards a more informed and accepting society. Together, let us pave the way for a future where GMOs are not viewed as fear, but with hope and optimism for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, for sharing insights to allay our fears on the safety of GMOs. I believe he deserves another round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. At this time, without wasting time, I want to bring up for his brief the Acting Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Seed Council, Dr. Khalid Ishaq. A round of applause.
Thank you very much. I think I would want to stand on the existing protocol. I am very pleased with my early speakers. They have been scientific enough. From the first speaker, the Executive Secretary, Agri-Research Council of Nigeria. From records, he has given you very close to 20 institutions that are all working on research and development of science and technology, particularly as regards to agriculture. Not only crops, but also livestock. He has emphasized the role and what where the modern technology that NAFDA has introduced are all ways of solving the national challenges. Today, Nigerian population, we said, is about 250 million, and we are still counting. We have also mentioned some of the reasons why our productivities have been very, very poor and low. That it got to a stage that we have to be importing food. Well, we think it should be a very big plus for the Nigerian science industry to come out with innovations locally so that we know what we are eating. GM technology, it is done by us, by our institutions, by our own persons who are also Nigerians. I'm not sure they have people to go and commit suicide. Nobody is willing to commit suicide now by eating poison. And for your information that I said, Nigeria has made a lot of breakthroughs, but unfortunately in the areas of science, I don't know, the press seems making less coverage when it comes to scientific innovations and developments. Otherwise, we will have been asking you to follow us every day. It's not the nature of our work. Distractions in sciences, sometimes we don't accommodate them until we come out formally. The institutes, all the institutions are all working together. And we make sure that we have a lot of technology. Now we are talking of GM. It's it only GM that we know that is the source of seed improvement. People are talking of organic seed, organic plants. Is that right? Seeds make dust, raise dust. But the question is that what is the productivity per unit area? And what is the quantum of whether it is liquid or even the waste that we are expected to convert into manure? How many hectares we do? Then what do we imagine about the productivity? So if there's more science and more technologies emerging, Nigeria should not be made to be following the world. We should participate and know what we are doing. Most of the trending videos we see here and there are where somebody is even carrying needle and injection taken inside the plant. Those are not scientific facts. Yeah, we are aware that some people will want to use it for different wars. We were exporting cowpea from Nigeria, but it will continue to be rejected. The people who made the chemicals for the control of these pests are the same people who are now saying when we export to them, they say that the residual level is very high and they will reject what we have exported. So we have to start believing in ourselves as Africans. I recall I had an opportunity in Kenya when I was telling you that look, when science and technology is coming up from the West, some are rejecting, some are accepting. But it is our responsibility as Africans to take our own destiny in our hands. If you don't know what they are doing, they will give you what you don't want to eat. So it is very, very important that the Nigerian side, institutions have woken up. On the present government, I knew we had series of meetings, and even before now, these institutions have been meetings very serious, not just looking at human being alone, even the environmental effects. That is why the National Biosafety Act, which comes from the Ministry of Environment. Then, of course, the people who cannot just be onlookers when new things are happening in the world. NAFTA, you have to go in. You let us see what other people are doing. Or are we happy that Nigeria continues to be a place for dumping ground for food from every part of the world? Do you know what they are giving you? Some of the things we import are stored for over 25 years before they now come to sell to us, and maybe we even prefer that because it's coming from outside. We must believe in our technology. But whatever is released undergoes under very serious scrutiny. Just as explained by the two speakers. We are Nigerians, and we are proud to be Nigerians. But I can tell you that today, Nigeria's position in Africa has far changed. Because our position in sciences, now Prof have said this, some other countries are coming. Just as they are coming to learn from us, they are going also back to improve on this system. We are also members of so many international organizations. And you are not just going to be a member there to be sitting down and be taking directives. No, your contribution of science to science must also be seen. So if Nigeria sees genetic modification as a way, what did they say? Some people even say you take genes from human beings and plants, and we never had empirical evidences for this. But I was reading in one, I was listening to one where somebody was saying that those crops are good for only that development is only good for forest crops. So there's no link relationship between forest and human. It's an ecosystem where there's a relationship. So we should talk. Provide you the evidence why we must do that. Nigerian means consumption and demand is not balanced. We consume more than we need. We are importing from South Africa. Who tells you that South Africa is not genetically modified the way you are bringing? Who among you here have not eaten GM product? As long as you buy from supermarkets and it's packaged. So I think It is very, very important to trust our institutions, to trust our systems, that we will make sure that we are also matching. Today, US and other people are known as world side being in the top. Nigeria is not praying that we should continue to always be at the top. We will to meet up with some of these challenges. That's why we have very young, brilliant scientists. If you see this research system now, it's changed. Supported by our ministers, when they call you, it's not just to come and fix it. You have to, and I'm sure the Agri Research Council, yes, knows how many meetings and how many batches. Because we must work together. And Nigeria cannot continue to be a dumping ground. So, as far as we are concerned, it is not only even GM seed that Seed Council promotes or supports. I'm sure some of us have heard of biofortification. And the one worry is that they said if you plant, you cannot go back to replant. Yeah, if you replant, it will germinate. But I want to ask us a question. All of us here, when we were in our teens, I think we are very active more than that. Now, if they have asked some of us to run races that we used to run in the secondary school, we cannot be able to run that race. So seed as a biological entity, it is subject to deterioration. If you buy hybrid seed and plant, but the product of that one again, if you replant, it will decline. This is because there is, of course, before you even produce the hybrid, you have to do what may not be understood by some, selfing. And when you sell, you know what we are looking out for. Because by the time you sell for some time, there will be depression. Then you will not cross this depressed from this depressed. What you get, the hybrid vigor, giving you into higher. Back to then you are even your normal conventional hybrid. That you have to always go back to renew your seeds. Otherwise, it's like making an old woman to run 100 meters race. Because she has the record of 100, she used to be the gold medalist before. 10 Carl Lewis of agency to come around 100 meters race. So there must be continuous renewal. And that's what we've been working with AFAM for years. There's nothing we do that they don't. So that a farmer is a very rational decision maker. So as per the safety, when I think, Madam, we be able to tell you what I know or what this table knows here. Even if Madam tell us, you say we don't leave it like that. We don't leave it like that. We have both, even not only government institutions that we subject for test. We also look at you as a private laboratory owner to also do your own judgments on the safety of what we are talking about. So as far as we are concerned, if Nigeria must feed itself, let us look at science. Let us not let people not use us for trade.
Yes.
If you are not having good business for your chemical, please allow us to work. Do not let us be behind. So that at the end of the day, we will now go and be importing from Benin Republic. Yes. So Nigeria is on a fast track to ensure that we are catching up with the world in science and technology. And as long as we do that, from the beginning, from the first statement, safety is very, very paramount. And nobody is ready to commit suicide. In fact, I don't even want my enemy to die. Talk less of myself. So I think let me think about that and probably allow for them who will tell us more so that you'll be convinced about the safety nature of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khalid Ishaq, Acting Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Council. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've had accurate information, insightful information from the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. We've heard from the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency. We've also heard from the National Agricultural Seed Council. At this time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Director General of the National Biosafety Management Agency, Nigerian Sole Authority on Biosafety Issues, Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asagwa. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And I would like to start with recognizing the members of the high table in the person of the ES of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, my brother, the Director General of National Technology Research and Development Agency, and also the DG of NAS, and also the All Farmers President, All Farmers Association President, ladies and gentlemen, and the gentlemen of the press. It's quite good that this conference is coming up, this press conference is on, because of the myriads of news that have been in the social media. And it's quite discomforting that in this time in Nigeria, where there's food insecurity, people are trying to make ends meet, that such depressing and unfounded things are put on the social media. And it beholds on us as government agencies who have been set up in the wisdom of this country, and to make sure that the citizens of this nation are safe. That is one of the major roles and responsibility of a government. And Nigeria is not different from this. And in the wisdom of this country and worldwide, when you have a biotechnology set up, there has to be a body that regulates the practice of biotechnology. And National Biosafety Management Agency was brought into being by an act in 2015 and amended in 2019 to make sure that the practice of modern biotechnology is safe, to make sure that any proceeds, whether it's food, feed, or processing, or genetically modified organisms, are safe for the use of Nigerians. And NBMA happens to be the sole authority on biosafety. ARCN has talked about the work they do and what they consider. NAFDA has talked about what they consider important, and also the Seed Council, making sure that the proceeds of agric biotechnology are safe, and also having in mind drought tolerance, insect resistance, and all that. So when these researches are carried out, the dossiers are brought to the Safety Management Agency for review, to carry out extensive risk assessment to check whether these research are actually right. And if you would recall, as I said, we actually check that the practice of modern biotechnology is safe. And that is why, right from the lab until these grains or these seeds are released to the environment, National Biosafety Management Agency is there. So it is not an end product thing that a National Biosafety Management Agency does. We started from the beginning to the end. And also, we know that these concerns, they could be real, but part of what happens when you're talking of genetically modified diseases, there's a history of safe use, also of importance. Have gone through evaluation, and National Biosafety Management Agency does not do this single-handedly. We have various organizations, various stakeholders. Some of them are here on the table, and also outside. We have the quarantine, we have the NAFDAC, which we all know said they didn't do anything. They are on the board. They are part of our National Biosafety Committee and our National Biosafety Technical Subcommittee, the technical aspect, because you're talking about toxicology. Is it toxic? You're talking about food safety, which is all involved in food safety. Is it allergenicity? All these are what NAFDAC does as part of the National Biosafety Technical Subcommittee. They are part of it, and they are there. So we have been able to approve basically 3 crops. We have the BT cotton, we have the teller maize, and we also have the PBR cowpea. The PBR cowpea was released in 2020. The teller maize that there is so much overlap about was released. We gave an approval for it in 2021. For BT cotton, it was in 2016. So these are researches, these are work that has been carried over a period of time before it was brought to the National Biosafety Management Agency for us to do. And also, apart from our national agencies that we collaborate with, we also collaborate with international organizations. And at this point, I would like to say that biosafety is an international work. We are signed to the Cartagena Protocol, and it is these international bodies, this international work that guards and guides our operation, and also the World Health Organization, and also the Codex, which we are all familiar with. So all these, our assessment, go through a period of all these subjecting all these approvals into. And definitely, I wouldn't, or the staff of NDNE are not going to a different market. And just like the PG, that's it. We don't want to just go eat poison. We make sure that we subject everything to risk assessment, we subject it, and we have experts from different fields who are actually on that field. Somebody who would do a risk assessment or who is part of the technical subcommittee for maize will be different from that of PBR because those are legumes, the other ones are green. So there are different experts who are there to make sure that all that is done properly and it brings about the safety. And I want us to recognize that GMO, they are a tool and not just a solution. And what else can give us much more peace is that some of these organisms that are used are from that soil. They are from the soil, and they are the gene of interest is what is now used. You talk about the ogoni, you talk about all these pollution and all that. Some of the organisms that are used to degrade these petrochemicals are from that environment. I actually worked for my PhD, I worked on organisms from the ground to use to make antibiotics for feed. So these things, nature has put them there. But then it is for us to see how can we harness this for the benefit of mankind. And I would like to end by telling Nigerians that NBNA will continue in integrity, will make sure that we do not compromise, and make sure, because we know that the safety of the Nigerians, in the case of health, human health, animal health, plant life, the environment, biodiversity as a whole is safe, and we will not compromise. That yes, Nigeria has the interest and the safety of all of us, of even our animals, even the plants, everything. We have it under our watch, and we will make sure that we do it right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asagbara, for the assurance given to us on the safety of GMOs. A round of applause for her again. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to wrap up the session, we would invite the President of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Architect Kabiru Ibrahim, for his brief remarks. A round of applause for him.
Our President.
Our President.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me stand on the already established protocol. Members of the press, farmers here present, we are beneficiaries of this science. We are also going to make money from making telomeres at least available to every nook and cranny of this country. The executive secretary of ARCN said everything, and I told him here that I'm further converted to biotechnology and GMO crops. I have been representing Nigerian farmers for a very long time, from being the president of Poultry Association of Nigeria, where I saw so many opportunities on improvement on chicken. You know, we have egg-laying birds and birds that we raise for meat. The birds that we raise for meat, in about 6 weeks, we eat them or go to the bank. They are improved. Our local chicken will not do that. The laying bird will lay egg every day. Our local chicken will not do that. Now, two things that I have learned from there, and I'm going to transmit it to crop production and to agriculture generally. I have realized a long time that the egg that is laid by the layer cannot be hatched by the layers. Yet we consume that egg. The bird that lays that egg does not do anything to bring offspring from it. So if anybody tells me that a GM crop seed will not necessarily produce optimally when replanted, first I'm not. And I am also told that chicken will mature in a very short time. I'm not surprised because I've seen it in broiler meat. Person, I'm a product of good science. I'm an architect. This is my first training, and I made money from architecture and veered into agriculture. I will not go where there is no money, there is poverty. So, from the beginning, I was just looking at this technology. I didn't know anything about it. But in 2016, after President Jonathan had signed the MDMA bill into law, I was invited to Cornell University, Ithaca, on the global food security conference. I went with some Nigerians. I was there as a fellow of the Science Farmer Alliance. I opened my eyes. As an architect, I believe in research, I believe in science. Engineering can only improve the lot of the farmer anywhere in the world. It is never intended to denigrate any human being or kill anyone for that matter. In fact, so many antis, and unfortunately here nobody has identified himself or herself as an anti. I would have been very happy if there were antis in this. The antis were given the chance to make contributions, and very good scientists, world-renowned scientists were there. The antis were there, the pros were there, to bring scientific evidence to show that there was a nexus between GM and any disease for that matter. Believe me, nobody came forward with any convincing argument. In fact, Madam Rose is here, I think you were there. We had a convert. Somebody who was an anti, who had written books and all that, embraced biotechnology that brought about GMO crops. Now, that aside, coming back to Nigeria, and I am the mouthpiece of Nigerian farmers, the real farmers. What I have told them is, we have been referred to as poor people. We are doing subsistence farming. I have seen an opportunity in GM crops to take us out of poverty and get us into prosperity, because we spend less money in spraying First, PBR cowpea, as when it came, when work was being done, about 3 years ago, I planted it on my farm to really see what happens before I will tell Nigerians and farmers whether or not to embrace it. I was told that I would only spray twice, but I was used to spraying about 8 times, 9 times against insects. This was proven. I was told that I would have more yield. I saw more yield. I was told that it would resist drought. I saw it. I grew it on my farm inside metropolitan Katsina, and the results were good. It was on TV. People covered, and maybe some of you may have seen it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, higher yield means prosperity for every farmer. I come from a purely agrarian background. My village, we are 99% farmers. There is nothing, no income that we get other than from farming. So when I began work in 1984, my salary was about 300 and something naira. And when I go there with that amount of money, I would give my relations some money and they would be happy. Over time, when I began doing business, sometimes I would take 1 million and give this to my relations, and I would still see poverty on their faces. I now ask myself, how would I improve their lot? I believe GM crop with higher yield and all that has already started. What the benefits of science, good science and technology, and genetic engineering and genome editing are manifestations of what can bring about prosperity in Nigeria. It has done this in Brazil, for instance. Brazil was referred to as a third world country before now. At this time, I am sure that we all know that Brazil is a very fast-growing economy. And most of the corn that we used to bring, at least when I was the president of Poultry Association, when we were allowed, the maize that came mostly was from Brazil and it was GM. And the cost was very low. I think we had about $300 per ton, ex-Lagos from there. Now, everybody in the world knows that Brazil now is a power, it's an economic power. Now, I want to take India, for instance. When I was in school in the 70s, many of our science teachers were actually of Indian extraction and Sri Lanka. Today in Nigeria, I challenge all of you, show me where these Indians are there in jobs like they were in the 70s. I now see them in my hotel with bags, briefcase, as businessmen. Poverty level. But you remember at some point, Indians were committing suicide. Indian farmers were committing suicide because they couldn't pay back simple loans. Now, if you take the United States of America, there is food security in the US. You can New Jersey Turnpike to New Jersey and up to Philadelphia, you can buy takeaway Roy Rogers with less than $2. Nobody in the United States complains of hunger. If you go to Canada, they also embrace GMO. There is a lot of prosperity. I think many Nigerians, even architects, are moving to Canada to do that. Argentina, that has had problems with the economy, is now recovering because of genetic engineering. In fact, I will tell you this and you can verify. Our poultry industry, because of the fierce competition with human beings and the inadequacy of maize, they have gotten approval to bring, and they have already brought 2 vessels of GM maize from Argentina to Lagos, and our farmers in the Lagos area are basking in that. So we will soon begin to have more chicken and more affordable egg. Most of you don't eat egg a day. You know, when I was president, I brought a Canadian scientist who said a normal human being should take 1 egg a day because there are only 300 milligrams of cholesterol in egg. And you know, there is So you need to amplify the good cholesterol. So if you go by that, the Nigerian farmer should be concerned with prosperity more than anything. For me, I recommend the use of GMO to our farmers because it will take them out of poverty to prosperity. And I stand here more convinced with
noxious weeds, super weeds. Thank you so much. Now within the context of yes, our discussion. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rita Inofani and I write for Voice of Nigeria. I have a question specifically for Architect Kabiru. You said you planted a GMO seed in Katsina. I just want to ask you to be part of my production and I'm producing this. One of the issues or one of the fears being put out there is that when you plant GM crops, when you come to plant other crops or other farm produce on such soils, it will no longer grow on that soil. So now I want you who had already planted to tell me if you were able to plant other crops on that soil so that I can use your handle for my production. Thank you very much.
The question? Did you raise your hand before? All right. Let's just walk forward.
Thank you.
Your name,
Okay, my name is Abdul Monjid. I report for Premium Times newspaper. My
one house, please. One house. Go ahead.
thank you.
Your name,
My name is Abdul Monjid. I report for Premium Times newspaper. So my question is for DGC Council.
DGC Council.
Yes. I just want to ask.
Your name?
I said Abdul Monjid, Premium Times. So regarding the whole issue of commercialization of the telomeres, I want to know if were you able to certify any seed company to distribute the seeds among farmers, and who are the seed companies? And then for how long have they been maybe selling the seeds to the farmers? Thank you.
All right, we'll take one more question before we move to the next set of questions. Thank you very much, my colleague. My name is Queen Kunde. I am the publisher of City newspaper. I wanted to plant Ella maize. I have been looking for it until I got to my mentor who gave me the few and not enough. And incidentally again, when I took it to the press center, a lot of journalists, it's been talked about. So I think a lot of work needs to be done by the Seed Council to talk about this seed producers. Then the issue of leveling that has been on for over years. The NBMA, that's part of the regulation that was stipulated in that law. I know it's going to be a little bit difficult, but it has to be done if it is a law. I've not seen a lot of GMO level. I know we buy in Mudu in Nigeria, not in some of these meats. Or let us know if you have done more about it. Thank you.
So we'll get responses to
Okay. Thank you very much for your question related to the telomeres. Well, in the first place, the release of the telomeres
adopted village that we use to distribute most of our, just like they circulate rumor in the social media, so do people move with materials in their hands to say this is the original, this is the original, this is the original. Please receive your original from source. Your number one source today, if you want to try, is IAM. That's number one. Two, come to National Biotechnology Agency. Number three, come to 6,000. Minus that, I don't want you to believe anything. If you have something from somebody, please come to these research institutes or their outstations and find out. And for those who are speculating, in fact, I've seen some even bagged. Somebody bagged this telomerase and is distributing in what? In a place. And saying somebody has brought poison to this country. They move to church, they move to, please ask us. We'll give you that information, like I said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I would like to briefly answer some two questions that were asked. First of all, is with regard to the royalty. Nigeria has the technology royalty free. It's royalty free. So that is one I can assure you. And secondly, I'm not advertising for the seed companies, but there are seed companies that are currently selling these seeds in the country. We have Seed Co, which I think is in Kaduna, and we have the Eco Basic also in Kaduna, and we have Techniseed in Kano. So these are the three seed companies that are still selling the seed in the country, and you can contact them if you still want to buy, but it's not for advert, but just for the question that is raised here. So thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Madam, for your question. I first planted the BBR cowpea when it was undergoing trial. This is about 3 years ago on a small plot of land on my farm. I intercropped also with maize. At that time, it was not named as Stella maize, but it was undergoing, and some work was being done by IAR. Let me also tell you that I also planted the BT cotton that is being sold even everywhere today by a company called Mexico that has been partnering with us, with the Seed Council and all that. Now, to allay your fears, the land on which I planted cowpea, for instance, I do vegetable production in the same place. And I have not experienced any low yield. I plant also other things. And this year, when I came to the launch of the telomerase, I was given some seed graciously facilitated by EcoSeed that is produced in Kaduna. Now you don't have to go to Katsina, go far. You can now come with me. There's a place I'm doing in Lupe. I have planted and it has started germinating. And I'm going to create an agriculture intelligence center there. Because look, I'm here to make money. But you also know that I'm the president of Agribusiness Group. So agriculture is not for poor people. You're supposed to make money there. So come there, I will show you, and then come after I remove the telomerase and plant something and see for yourself whether there is any low yield as a result of planting GMO. So I thank you immensely for that. I want to intervene.
He will give you your kitty.
Okay, so
But you have been to Seed Council. Yes. Did you see when we invited you for this day? Yes. The direct opposite cowpea you saw last time you came, you know it was BT cowpea. GMO. It's GMO. And the subsequent months, when you go, up to now it's still green. You are planting.
Thank you very much. I think it was Queen that asked the question of labeling. Yes, there's a provision for labeling in the act that it should be legal. But then, you know, it is stipulated that there should be labeling. But the NAFDAC has the mandate on labeling. And we had a meeting. We had a stakeholders meeting April this year with 2 directors from NAFDAC Lagos, from the, I think the inspectorate or whatever. They came, we had this meeting. So that was why it was so shocking when the DG NAFDAC came on air and said they don't do anything, they don't know anything. We had this meeting, so there's also like a zero draft. So in that meeting we had with them, standards organization were there and other stakeholders to see on how to go about this labeling. We have a kind of thing we call a zero draft on it, which is still being reviewed, and we are to meet with NAFDAC soon to finalize on the labeling of GMOs. And you made something very, very constructive. You know, these grains will come probably in sacks and they can be labeled. But then when these women go get them, how do they now label that? For instance, you see sometimes in the market, you have Jano with the milk. Other people come to buy. But even then, nobody even knows that it is Dano or is it Peak or something like that. So that, I think, is something for the people who have the mandate of labeling to actually look into it and see how we can actually do this labeling. And like we normally say, it's a choice. Nobody is forcing anybody to take GMO. It's a choice. And that choice can be better brought to play by labeling. Thank you very much.
All right, let me thank you very much for your responses. Let me also add that at the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, we have a demonstration plot where tailor maize has been planted. And we know that seeing is believing, so you could pay us a visit and check it out, just to be sure of what we're talking about. And cowpeas. Pressing national assignment, so we'll just take 3 more questions. We can't take any other questions? All right, at this time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome for the vote of thanks the Director of Agricultural Biotechnology Department of the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Dr. Rose Maxwell Gidado. A round of applause, please.
Thank you. Our able to we left to do the most difficult part. Saying thank you is a very difficult thing to do after a favor has been done to you. The Executive Secretary, ARCN, Professor Sharubutu, my brother, the Director General CEO, National Biotech Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, my boss, my mentor, my DG, and a DG National Biosafety Management Agency, my sister, Dr. Agnes Lasagna, and the acting DG CEO of National Agric Seed Council of Nigeria, Dr. Khalid, my brother as well, and all the paparazzis, the members of press, all of you, our formidable team in this discourse. On behalf of the National Biotech Research and Development Agency and of Nigeria, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all of you here who have taken your time, to attend this very important World Press Conference that we have, on matters of genetic modification technology. You have been in this fight with us, and we are where we are today because of you. So we appreciate your presence. Your presence here has actually demonstrated your commitment to disseminating accurate and timely information to the public on the transformative potential of genetic modification in agriculture. Especially, you've heard from the horse's mouth. We have on the high table here the authorities in this technology. About 4, different agencies of government, talking with one voice. There can't be any other authority other than the authority we have here in this hall. So we appreciate your thoughtful questions and engagement during the conference, which has helped to clarify the benefits and safety of GM technology in improving crop yields, crop resilience, and the nutritional value. We all know what's going on. Climate change is real. It's real. It's there. It's happening. We're experiencing that. And so there's no way we can achieve it in the area of food security without using appropriate technologies like agricultural biotechnology. So I would like to extend a special appreciation to all the DGCEOs and the Executive Secretary of ARC on the high table for making time for this, and especially my DG for actually initiating this and giving us go ahead and the permission to carry out this conference, and all the DGs, your endorsements. We're really grateful, we're happy, for all your insightful presentations that you've done here, and our other president, Architect Kabir, who has also been just in this sojourn, a long time ago, since 2015, 16. He has been with us, and he's been very, very supportive. Thank you, our African president. And thank you all for your attention, and we look forward to continued collaboration in sharing the story, the success story. You have heard from the farmer saying that the technology will take farmers to prosperity. It's a technology for prosperity. So I'm looking forward to seeing headlines on front pages of the newspapers tomorrow. Today even though today is late, but we need to have science news on the front pages of the newspapers. On the front pages, you've heard me. So, positive stories, impact stories. Okay, so thank you so very much. Time is fast spent. We all have things to do. So thank you, and see more of you in some of our programs. I would also like to recognize our principal